Bad's here. So it looks like we are headed into a new administration in the United States. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Number one, I want to encourage you that there comes a time where we have to begin to look forward. And we have to begin to think about, how do we protect the liberties that we have? How do we preserve both personal liberties and the liberties that we share corporately, whether it be your state, your city, or your nation? Now, living in a post-COVID-19 world, many people are asking themselves and asking others, what kind of protections are in place for me concerning the vaccine, concerning owning a business, even attending church? How do we move forward with that? How do we protect individual liberty during this time? Well, that's what we're going to start on. It's going to be a series over the next few months as we head into session here in Oklahoma of how can lawmakers protect the liberties of Oklahomans. We'll be sitting down with different lawmakers. We'll be sitting down with different groups. We'll be sitting down with people who advocate for parental rights and individual rights, particularly when it comes to issues like COVID-19 and the vaccine. As we look forward, please know that the next 2 to 4 years are imperative when it comes to protecting our freedom. As we move forward, we're going to have to send a message to lawmakers not only here, but in Washington, that the liberties that we have will retain them. Hey guys, welcome back to Red River TV. Today we are sitting down with Senator Bullard. You guys probably are familiar with Senator Bullard. We brought him in, I don't know, it's probably 3 or 4 times in the last probably 2 years. Yeah. He did an amazing pro-life bill, if you guys remember before. That was really, really awesome. And we will be bringing him back in, though, this year as well, this session, to talk about possibly another pro-life bill that's going to be coming to the forefront. But today, what we want to talk about is we were discussing beforehand, we are in uncharted territory at this point. We are headed into what looks like to be a new administration here in this nation. As much as some of us don't want to acknowledge that, we have to start looking forward. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And that includes protections for constituents, when it comes to COVID-19, when it comes to even possibly the vaccine. And so I'm going to let Senator Bullard talk about that today and what that's going to look like for Oklahomans this coming session. Yeah,
and it's best to, I've always been told a saying, don't be scared, be prepared. Mm-hmm. I don't fear Joe Biden, not 1 second, because I still know that I have a God on the throne.
Amen to that.
And so what I'm working towards now is to make sure that the people of my state, across my state, don't lose freedom.
Absolutely.
I set a standard when I came here that if we just maintained a status quo of freedom, we lost.
Yeah.
I want to grow freedom every year that we're here. And we've done that so far.
Yes.
And we can still do that under a Biden administration. As a matter of fact, it's going to give us some opportunities that we hadn't had before to really go after some key points. And one of those is, as you said, we want to make sure that whether you choose to take the vaccine or not, that is your private information, and that you are not discriminated against because you decided to or not take that vaccine.
Absolutely.
And so we're taking a twofold approach to that. One is to the government, to tell the government you are not allowed ever, any political entity is not allowed to tell someone that they have to get a vaccine, because that's a strict violation of privacy rights.
Absolutely.
And there's no way that they're going to know that whether or not you got that vaccine unless they violate that privacy. The other one was with employers and employees. And I think this one's probably the one I'm most concerned about, because I want to make sure that somebody doesn't threaten to take away your livelihood because you have a choice to take or not take a vaccine.
Yes.
And so that's the one that I'm really focused on right now, is making sure we get the language right to say that an employer cannot discriminate against an employee and violate their privacy rights because they tell them they have to get a vaccine.
Absolutely. And I think that there are people that, and this goes back to the uncharted territory part, where we've now entered into something where we have to now begin to preserve freedoms that we have. But not only that, but to protect freedoms that we have individually. And so I think that this session is going to be quite interesting. I think that sessions across the United States are going to be quite interesting. But I like this because, again, you guys know when we talk about, whether it be state questions or bills, it's always about looking forward. It's always about looking for how can we protect the constituents of our state. And that's who we're going to be looking at in our Senate and in the House as well. So you've talked about how this can kind of protect, constituents. Mm-hmm. What should a person or what could a person do? Because this all has to go into motion now. It's not actually settled. So what happens to a person if they find themselves in this situation? What is something that maybe you would suggest that they could do?
So there are options. So one of the things that we've put in the bill too is that an employer would have to inform them of what their options are with regard to those things, and almost an educational piece to it. Because what we want to make sure of is there are exemptions to getting inoculation is the word that keeps going to mind, but vaccination.
Exactly.
That's just the language I've been dealing with. They don't call it vaccinations. They call it immunizations.
I know.
Threw me for a minute. But there are options out of it to opt out of those kinds of things. So there are religious reasons that you can opt out of.
Absolutely.
And people really don't know that. So they need to have some sort of informed consent about what those options are. There's some organizations out there. One of the better ones out there is, I told you, don't let me forget the name of it, Oklahomans for...
We're going to put it in the description.
Yeah, it's Oklahomans for parental rights. I believe it's health and parental rights.
Yeah, it's an awesome group.
They are a fabulous group. And there's somebody that you need to look up and lean on them for that information.
Yes.
Make sure that you're going to them for that information, because they're very well versed on what our current statute is.
Yes.
But they're also very active in trying to help craft current legislation. I've leaned on them for help and understanding as to what those things are at this time. So that would be a really good group to lean on.
Awesome. And we will make sure that we put that again in the description so that you guys have that. I know that some of you that follow our content are already in that group, because you guys kind of told me about it. I don't know, I think it was last year. Really good information in there, but also keeping Oklahomans just updated, on what's even going on. But to know that they are connecting with, our lawmakers like this is very, very important, because you guys, when you're a part of this side of it, whether you're a parent, whether you're, a young person, an old person, whoever you are, but when you're able to connect with the lawmaker, that is very key, especially in a grassroots movement in places like Oklahoma. So please connect with these groups. You can also contact Senator Bullard, if you need to. We will also have that info for you. If you have questions, if you're in his district and you have questions, if you're not in his district and you have questions, please ask questions, because again, if you don't know what's available to you, you may find yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in. And so thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. This is going to be an interesting year. I would imagine we're going to set records for a number of bills filed. You're going to have a lot of police protection bills. You're going to see a ton of those come out. You're going to see lots of bills like mine. I'm working on another bill that's a essential church bill that says you cannot deem a church as non-essential.
Pay attention to that one.
Those are going to be, you're going to see several of those come through, and how we word those matter. So pay attention to the language of them.
Yes.
So you're going to see a lot of preemption bills trying to preempt what a Biden administration is going to try and do. So it's important to pay attention to ones that are effective and have effective language in them, and ones that are not.
Absolutely.
And then get behind them and support them would be the biggest thing. If they'll reach out to the Senate and to each member and pay attention to where the bill is in the process, but then reach out and give a personal email. Never, ever do cut, copy, and paste emails. Do a personal email to them, and it doesn't have to be long. Matter of fact, we prefer it if it just says, I support this bill and here's why. And it really helps us when we get into committee and on the floor, because it encourages us, but we can also bring those as testimonials to say, man, we're getting a lot of contact from people who want protections from a tyrannical Biden administration that's trying to shut down your freedom, not help preserve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, you guys, it doesn't let us know in the comments though, too, what state you're in. Because one of the things that we've realized about here in Oklahoma is that we do have a lot of people that follow. They're in Oklahoma. We have a lot that follow that are not. And so there's a lot of confusion because people don't know what's going on in their state. And if you want to be able to pay attention to what's happening in Oklahoma, hopefully that'll put a fire under you in your own state to find out, well, what protections do I have? What is my governor doing? What are the lawmakers in the House and the Senate doing in my state? Find that information out. And as he stated, follow the process. I think sometimes we like to get upset with lawmakers, but yet we're on the other end and we don't follow through on our end of the support. And so I think it's going to be important in the next 4 years to do that, probably more than ever.
Yeah, I think Lincoln probably said it best when he said, "We the people are the final arbiters of Congress and the courts, not to pervert the Constitution, but to remove those who would pervert the Constitution."
Absolutely.
And that's where y'all stand in. I work for the people of Oklahoma, and so I'm going to listen to those, especially those who elected me, and pay attention to what they're saying. So others are the same way. I mean, we listen, and so when we get contacted in those ways, it helps. It really, really does help. So
awesome. Well, you guys, we're going to wrap this up for now. We are going to be bringing Senator Bullard back into the studio very soon this year to find out more about this new pro-life bill that's coming forward, but also to keep talking about what this process is going to look like as far as these state questions and these bills are going to be going forward. So until next time, you guys, I'm Janelle Batts.